Welcome to part 9 of this Peatland ACTION mini-series on how to complete the spatial data template. In this episode, I'm going to show you some additional useful resources that you may wish to add to your base maps group within the template. So here we have a list of useful sources of data that you could add to the spatial data template in order to help you complete your mapping. The website links will be provided in the video description below. The first suggestion is the Ordnance Survey maps, and in particular the 1 to 50,000 OS map, as modification to any watercourses visible at this scale will require a car licence agreement with SEPA. You can find and download OS data from the OS Data Hub. Some layers are available for free, whilst others require subscriptions. For those carrying out work for NatureScot, you can get in touch with the Data and Evidence team at Peatland ACTION data@nature.scot, and we can look into providing you with any of the layers you need. We recommend that the OS mapping is downloaded in grid TIFF files, which you can then load up as raster layers in your chosen GIS software. So you'll see here that I've downloaded the NT24 1 to 50,000 OS grid from the Data Hub and added it to my GIS project. If I toggle on the layer, then you'll see that the 1 to 50,000 OS map appears in the background mapping behind my restoration project layers contained in the Spatial Tables group at the top of the template. It's particularly useful to use this layer in conjunction with a vector layer for the watercourse links. In NatureScot, we access a watercourse links layer through an OS API. However, please note that this is a licensed feature. Given the level of detail in the 1 to 50,000 OS map, it's not always possible to tell whether mapped restoration does fall within a watercourse, so combining it with a vector layer of watercourses, which is more scalable, can help to provide clarity. Back to the list of useful resources, you'll see that there's 2 recommendations for elevation data. There is the Open Topo map, which can be added as a connection to the XYZ tiles group within the browser panel. This provides contour lines as well as symbols which indicate sites of interest such as wind farms. No license is required for this layer. It's also useful to consider the local topography via elevation data when digitising your site boundary and ensuring that the restoration techniques proposed are suitable for the terrain. Alongside this, digital elevation models recommended where available. There is some publicly available LiDAR for areas in Scotland, and this can be found via the remote sensing portal. Once on the web page, we recommend clicking on the Explore the Map button to the right. Drag and drop the corners of the box with the blue boundaries to select the area you're trying to obtain LiDAR for, and you can use the mouse scroller or the plus and minus signs in the bottom left-hand corner to adjust the scale. Matching datasets will appear in the box to the top left, and you can select the tiles you wish to download in the box to the right. Similarly to the OS data, these are downloaded as TIFF grids, which can be imported into your GIS project as a raster layer. DTM can also be obtained from UAV surveys, which can provide several useful data layers for helping to map sites. Whilst good quality aerial imagery can provide a useful foundation for mapping erosion features across the site, it's not possible to understand the height of erosion features without elevation data or sufficient ground truthing. Both are recommended. You will have seen in the videos in part 3 of this mini-series that it's recommended to use at least 2 sources of aerial imagery when producing mapping. Bing satellite imagery and also APGB aerial imagery are both good options. In NatureScot, we access APGB aerials via Get Mapping, which is licensed, whilst Bing satellite imagery is open source. Note that if you're carrying out work for NatureScot, then we can provide a WMS link for accessing APGB aerial imagery in your chosen GIS software, and download DTM on request for sites where it's available. The final recommendations are publicly available data, including the spatial data layers from Spatial Data GovScot website. Here you can find environmental layers, boundaries, and water management zones. It may be useful to identify any overlaps between your project area and protected sites, as there may be regulations that would impact the feasibility of the work. Then, lastly, we have the Peatland ACTION spatial data layers that are available to download from the NatureScot Open Data Hub, such as the site centroids and footprints for completed Peatland ACTION projects and feasibility studies. If you don't want to download this data, then it's also available to view via our Peatland ACTION data portal. This is an ArcGIS online viewer tool and accessed via the link provided in the video description below. To access a viewer, scroll down to the 4 drop-down menus and expand the second menu titled Logging into the Map Portal. Then click on the hyperlinked text that says The portal is available in ArcGIS Online (AGOL). This will redirect you to the AGOL Peatland ACTION Data Portal homepage, where you can access a map by clicking on the View button to the right. A new tab will open and the ArcGIS viewer will load to show you all of the feasibility studies and past Peatland Action projects. You can select which layers are visible by clicking on the layers icon in the far top right corner of the window. It's recommended that you check for any previous projects using the data portal, as overlaps with previously reported hectares could impact the feasibility of your project, as an area can only be reported to be on the road to recovery once. There are other videos in this Peatland Action mini-series, such as setting up a fresh template, how to add features into the different template layers, and how to generate your restoration footprint. All of these are available on the NatureScot Peatland Action webpage.